Hello everyone, I'm Danny and welcome to Honest Vaping. I'm a little more close up with this video because we're reviewing the Smok Infinix pod system today. So since it's a smaller piece of equipment, I wanted to be a little closer so I can show you guys all the fun nifty details. So first, let's talk about what comes with your Smok Infinix pod. You are going to get the base system with the charging port in the bottom. You also get a USB charger because it's made to charge internally. It doesn't have a removable battery. And you get 2 pod system refill cartridges. You fill these with this little plug on the side. You pull it out, and there is a small hole where you insert your juice. So that, along with the user manual, and it also comes with something to use to fill your pod system. Now, if you are lucky enough to use juices that have these type of tips, that is small enough, that will work. But if you use the glass eyedropper, I call them drip tips, if you use that type of juice bottle, you're gonna need to put it in this, then use that to fill your system. That is definitely, I think, a big con, but we'll get to that. So, it is filled and it is put together. So, let's talk about the body of this for a second. It's very lightweight. It doesn't even weigh as much as a bottle of juice. I mean, it's got that rubber plug stopper for the juice flow. You can turn it upside down, flip it around, lay it like this. It's not gonna leak. That's definitely a positive point, is no leaking. It's small enough for if you're a guy and you have shirts with chest pockets, or if you're a girl and you have a button-up shirt with a pocket, it can just fit, boop, in the chest pocket. Or in a front pocket. That's really convenient. If you have a small enough wallet, it can fit in the zippy pouch of your wallet. That's definitely a pro. So, as far as looks go, I would give this a 10 out of 10. I mean, its compactability, it looks, it feels, the size, definitely, they nailed it on that one. Now, let's talk about this pod system. I'm not very familiar with a lot of pod systems. However, I find the fact that you have to fill this with juice, just to fill this with juice, then you'll have to clean and wash this out. That's kind of annoying. That's a con for me, definitely. I'm not a big fan of that. And also, it has your LED light that tells you when you're firing it. So if the light's not on, it's not running. There's no button to hit. There's no button you're gonna accidentally push while it's in your pocket. That's a pro, because a lot of people don't get bigger mods because they're afraid it's gonna start going off in their pocket, overheat, blow up, explode, whatever. This isn't gonna do that. It only fires when you're pulling air through it. It also has a safety feature that it talks about in your handy dandy user manual that you get. It has a safety feature that it has an 8-second cutoff time, which means if you're firing on this or drawing off of it for longer than 8 seconds, it's going to automatically shut off on you. So that's a really cool safety feature, unless you're like me and you kind of forget how to mouth to lung inhale because you're no longer smoking. So this is a mouth-to-lung device. It's not going to go directly in the lungs like a bigger vape mod will. That definitely affects flavor. For me, and this may be because I'm used to the bigger mod, but I don't taste a whole lot. Not a whole lot of flavor comes through this. It doesn't have really much of a throat hit at all. It really doesn't feel like you're getting a whole lot. However, I'm only using a 3 milligram nicotine. So, I can't really call that a con because that's kind of a personal use. I would, however, only recommend this for someone who's new to vaping, like an older person who just quit smoking, who doesn't want to deal with a lot of the mechanics of using bigger mods and changing coils and things like that. You have to change the pod system, but this is it. Like, this is what you get. You fill it, you let it sit for a few minutes to prime, and then you pop it back into your thing and you're good to go. That's all you have to worry about. So this is definitely a good device for someone like that who just stopped smoking. But if you just stop smoking and you're going to choose to use this, I would recommend getting a higher level of nicotine than what you think you would, just like the next step up, because it doesn't deliver as much flavor and nicotine and pull, and you don't get as much at one time as you do with a big mod system. That's why you can use the 35 milligram nicotine salt in this. I think that's kind of what you're supposed to use in these, because of the way it pulls in the flavor. So maybe that's my error, that I'm using the wrong kind of juice. I'm using, the peach coconut cream, the 3 milligram nicotine juice. So maybe that's on me. However, that would be really annoying that you have a pod system where you can only use that type of juice with it. So I'd consider that kind of a con, but that may be just personal preference, and it may be what's going on. So let's use it for a minute and talk about it. So if you're wanting to start vaping and get into the bigger, clouds and tricks and flavors, this probably is not for you. It didn't produce a lot of cloud or flavor or vapor. It doesn't do a whole lot. But what I will say is I can feel kind of the little nicotine tinglies. Now, I consider that a con because I want more flavor. I want more flavor. So if I just came off of smoking and I'm wanting something that's going to deliver me a lot of flavor, I'm going to sit there and do this and this, because the flavor craving is not being met. But in doing that, I'm ending up getting more nicotine over time, I would feel. So that could lead to headaches, a lot of problems there. So I would consider that a con. But that's with all pod systems in general, I'm sure, not just this one. For this specific pod system, stick system, whatever you want to call it. I call it a pod system because it's refillable pods, even though it doesn't look like a pod. It's a stick. But anyway, I would definitely give it a 10 out of 10 for as far as the price. I think it was around 20 bucks, 25 maybe. The compactability, super compact, super tiny, super lightweight. I'm not going to judge it on the personal preference things that I may have, because that's just me. The downside is the way you have to refill it with this little bottle. That seems way more trouble than it's worth. But if you have the plastic tip vape juice bottle, you're going to be fine. It's not that big of a deal. I mean, it's literally that easy. You don't have to unscrew the tank and then take the bottom off to change the coil and then do all of that mess. You literally pitch this, fill it, pop in a new one. That's convenient and that's handy. Internal battery. The light is red when it's charging, turns off when it's not. This isn't going to overheat on you. And it's not, I think most Samsung chargers will fit in here, but you have to make sure it's for something with a similar battery. So, as far as pod systems go, I think this is probably one of the best ones you can get. I'm Danny, and that is my honest vaping opinion.